morning, guys. How are you? Oh, Kermie, sorry. Oh, I'm so happy you're here, Jenna. Good to see you. I mean, a grown adult, sitting with a grown adult reading a picture book is the best. And Melissa, how are you guys this morning? Happy Easter to you as well. And I have to say, I'm so excited that Dexter is now watching from the woods somewhere. You know, Dexter Adolph Jung III, who's my cameraman and my stage manager and my sound man, is now where he needs to be. It is a beautiful day. I'm looking out the windows here in Fort Worth, Texas. And Dexter, my cameraman, lives to be in the woods somewhere. And since it's safe to sit under a tree, you know, wherever, he's traveled. And Daisy, too. So my house is extraordinarily quiet. But they'll be home this evening, so that's really good. Thanks, Dex. Glad you're going to have a great time. And this book is a new book to me, but not a new book to the Georges. The Georges love this book. So if you know my friends, Tracy and Mark Georges, the parents of Ethan and Kenneth and Asher, this is a favorite book of theirs, and so I was so delighted to get it. And as I always do, Kermie, I'm going to put you right here because, you know, I don't want to bonk him with my elbow. This book is called Dear Mr. Blueberry. And look at it, guys. There's a stamp on it. Isn't that cool? You know, right now is a great time to send people letters. You may not be able to hug them, but, you know, you could send them a letter. In fact, my friends, the Creedens, are watching this morning, and you know all about being long distance from people you love because your dad is in the armed forces, and that happens all the time, right? So you're experts at this. You can teach the rest of us. But this, Dear Mr. Blueberry, is a letter written by Simon James. I always love to see who was the person who thought this up, had this story in their head. And then this is cool because it's stamped. You know, when you send a letter, it stamps the date on it. And it says Nantucket, Massachusetts. And the date is 1/10/91. I bet in 1991, in January, it was pretty cold when this was sent. Okay, and I'm looking to see who's writing the letter. I'm going to guess that maybe this picture on the stamp is letting us know who's inside. Very possible. Okay, let's see. And as always, remember, if you've been here before, you want to turn right to the very beginning, and that tells you a lot. And in the beginning of this is a signature, I'm pretty sure, of who Tracy got this book from. This, I believe, is Tracy's mom. So, Tracy Clyburn was gifted this book in 1292 by her mom, Linda, who's now a grandmom. One of the best things we like to give our grandkids are books. Okay, let's see what happens next. Oh, and this is cool too. Remember, in the very beginning of a book, it often tells you, you know, who the writer was thinking about and loves. It's always cool. And this is To David and to Lucy with love. So we'll have to talk to Simon and find out, you know, who these people are. It could be a brother, a sister, a daughter, a grandmother, who knows, a friend. So To David and to Lucy with love. And this is Dear Mr. Blueberry. Sure enough, look at that. That's the person who's writing the letter, right? There it is. Some little person with, I don't know if that is a stuffed bear or if it's a dog or, you know, something real. Fun for us to think about, right? Simon James, Dear Mr. Blueberry. Dear Mr. Blueberry, I love whales very much. I think I saw one in my pond today. Please send me some information on whales, as I think you might be hurt. Love, Emily. Oh, this is a good window. This is a great window, right? Looking out at the whale. Look at that. And in a pond, it looks kind of like Maybe one of those baby pools we have, but obviously it's a pond. There's a whale in her pond. And, you know, Mr. Blueberry is the teacher. So those of us who are teachers, you know, sometimes you go to your teacher to ask these questions. Yeah, it looks like to me the whale is standing on his or her head. A blue whale. Right there in her pond. Oh, the light you can see shining on it. Dear Emily, here are some details about whales. I don't think you'll find it was a whale you saw because whales don't live in ponds, but in salt water. Yours sincerely, your teacher, Mr. Blueberry. Wait till you see this picture. Oh my. Okay, she's reading the letter, but what struck me first about the picture is this looks a lot like our house. Our house when our kids were here, and now our house when our grandkids are here. This is sort of like crazy time, right? Because we're all in our kitchens more than ever now that we're all snuggled in. Okay, so yes, there it is. The cereal is being poured on the floor, but the subject here is there's a letter from Mr. Blueberry. So this is cool. Send a letter, you get a letter back. And in that letter, Mr. Blueberry is pretty much saying, I don't think so. I don't think what you saw was a whale. I don't know. She's writing back, Dear Mr. Blueberry, I am now putting salt into the pond every day before breakfast. And last night, I saw my whale smile. I think he's feeling better. Do you think he might be lost? Salt water, okay, that's a good thing to learn. The whale needs salt water, smiling. That's good. You know, maybe he is lost. Oh, this is definitely not a blow-up pool. This is definitely a pond. Just putting the salt in. Maybe he's lost. Maybe he's on an adventure. I don't know. When a whale escapes the ocean. Dear Emily, please don't put any more salt in the pond. I'm sure your parents won't be pleased. I'm afraid there can't be a whale in your pond because whales don't get lost. They always know where they are in the oceans. Yours sincerely, Mr. Blueberry. Well, whales don't get lost. Well, that's interesting. Seems like any creature has the possibility of getting lost is kind of what I'm thinking. Whose foot do you see going up the stairway? I love that we're getting to see her house. Emily. Oh, look. Look over here at this picture. Picture on the wall. It's really cool to look at all of the details, like it's over there on the cabinet. Just see a foot. Could be a mom foot, a dad foot. Oh, but look. Hey guys, does anybody have a door like this where your mail comes through the door? I love that. I don't have one of those, but I do love those. A mail chute. So you actually hear the mail coming in. Cool, right? Okay, well, obviously Mr. Blueberry's tried to keep her from getting in trouble by saying don't put salt in there. But if a whale needs salt, I think it's pretty smart. Dear Mr. Blueberry, tonight I'm very happy because I saw my whale jump and spurt lots of water. He looked blue. Does this mean he might be a blue whale? Love, Emily. P.S. What can I feed him with? Well, you know, teachers are supposed to know answers, and so I think Miss Emily knows a lot. I mean, now the whale must be doing better because now the whale is playing in the pond. And it doesn't have to be a big pond, obviously. The whale is quite at home in this small pond. Oh, but by the way, now that he's having fun, surely he's going to be hungry to go outside and play. You come in, you're usually pretty hungry. Wouldn't that be cool to do that? I think that kind of spurt happens in my bathtub when my grandchildren spend the night. They're really not supposed to spit, but if they spit straight up, it's kind of like a whale as opposed to each other. The spurt, we'll just start calling it spurts instead of spits. Oh, sometimes these pages stick together. Ah, here we go. Dear Emily, blue whales are blue, and they eat tiny shrimp-like creatures that live in the sea. However, I must tell you that a blue whale is much too big to live in your pond. Yours sincerely, Mr. Blueberry. P.S. Perhaps it is a blue goldfish? I don't know. Oh, look. She's going to study what the answer is. What does my whale need to eat? There's books. There's something on the television. Somebody's feet. Oh. And a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Whatever is on television looks fun. Looks like a game show, maybe. Okay, she needs to figure out what the whale needs to eat. If you have a guest, you do have to figure out what they like to eat, especially if it's a guest that doesn't eat the kinds of things you're used to. In the summer at Kids Who Care, we have kids come from other countries, and you sort of have to find out, if you are from China, what do you love to eat? May not be guacamole. So she's trying to figure out what the whale can have to eat. It's very important. Dear Mr. Blueberry, last night I read your letter to my whale. Afterward, he let me stroke his head. Oh, it was very exciting. I secretly took him some crunched up cornflakes and breadcrumbs. This morning, I looked in the pond and they were all gone. I think I shall call him Arthur. What do you think? Love, Emily. Okay, obviously, the whale usually eats shrimp, but obviously when you're in another place, you should eat what they eat. You might find out you like it. So, I mean, probably the whale never got to have cornflakes. Depends on where the whale was. I don't know that there's cornflakes swimming under the ocean, but cornflakes worked, right? How cool is that? Cornflakes and breadcrumbs, and they were gone. So probably the whale got to eat them and now has full tummy. Yeah, trying new things to eat. I love that she gave him a name, Arthur. Everything's a lot better when you know somebody's name. Now the friendship really, really, really begins. Dear Emily, I must point out to you quite forcibly now that you in no way could, let me start over. I must point out to you quite forcibly now that in no way could a whale live in your pond. Whew. You may not know that whales are migratory, which means they travel great distances each day. I am sorry to disappoint you. Yours sincerely, Mr. Blueberry. Emily, there is not a whale in your pond, says Mr. Blueberry. They're migratory. Did you know that whales are migratory? Oh, that's cool. Like birds, I know birds are migratory. You know, you see them flying north and south and this way and that. Hummingbirds only come to our hummingbird feeder at a certain time of the year. Lots of things are migratory. Butterflies, the monarchs, they come through Fort Worth. Whales are migratory. So they're moving about, going one part of the ocean, one time of the year, another part of the ocean, another time of year. But really at the beginning, I must point out to you quite forcibly now that there is no way a whale could live in your pond. Hey, Mr. Blueberry. Dear Mr. Blueberry, tonight I'm a little sad. Arthur has gone. I think your letter made sense to him, and he's decided to be migratory again. Love, Emily. So even when your friends need to go back home or somewhere else, you miss them a lot. But obviously the whale understood. Maybe it just reminded him, this is fun in this pond, but whoop, everybody else is looking for me. Maybe this whale is somebody's kid whale. Ugh, they're looking for Arthur. That's possible too. Yep, there's the pond. I love that she sits and writes letters in this window. There's places in my house I like to sit and write my journal. There's places in my house that I like to put my feet up and watch the people from my front porch. Obviously, this is one of her favorite places to write, sitting there looking. I think your letter made sense to him, and he has decided to be migratory again. Love, Emily. Dear Emily, don't be too sad. It really was impossible for a whale to live in your pond. Perhaps when you are older, you would like to sail the oceans, studying and protecting whales. Yours sincerely, Mr. Blueberry. Oh my, that's pretty cool. If you fell in love with whales, and if you love the ocean, then maybe that is what you're supposed to do, like as a grown person, because you are who you are from the very, very beginning. I absolutely believe that. Oh dear, too bad for Mr. Blueberry that he didn't believe the whale was there. That's the cool thing about kids, and the reason I hang out with kids is they believe in the impossible. They believe in the impossible. Yeah. While we're here, let's look in a room. Look at all of these pictures on the walls. When you look at walls, you can tell a lot about what people love. You know, there's a guitar, and you know, maybe she plays the guitar and she loves whales. Maybe the whale was an accident waiting to happen, so she could fall in love with whales and go do what she's supposed to do in life. That's really possible. She looks a little sad. She looks like she's thinking. I'd be sad too. We all at Kids Who Care have friends, a lot of us, who live across the ocean on the other side of the world. And whenever we get to the summer, we always look forward to kids coming to Fort Worth from around the world. And when they go home, we can send the letters and we can, you know, FaceTime them. But, you know, it's nothing like when they're in our houses. Dear Mr. Blueberry, it's been the happiest day. I went to the beach, and you'll never guess, but I saw Arthur. I called to him, and he smiled. I knew it was Arthur because he let me stroke his head. I gave him some of my sandwich. That's so great. Oh my gosh, now she got to go where Arthur was. Oh my goodness, that's so cool. She visited Arthur, and I believe that's Arthur. Why else would the whale come up and let Emily pet him? I'm a bit sorry the most for Mr. Blueberry. He needs to hang out with more kids, and I am not kidding. Hang out with kids, and you'll giggle more, and you'll play more, and you'll be reminded to look at the tiny things more. And right now, we get to be with our kids a lot, which can drive you nuts, but it's also the coolest thing. You get to be together more. Here they are at the beach. Oh, I got to try something new, a sandwich. And then we said goodbye. I shouted that I loved him very much, and I hope you don't mind, I said you loved him too. Love, Emily and Arthur. Kids also give you the benefit of the doubt. You know, here's Mr. Blueberry, a teacher who's supposed to know stuff, and he does know a lot of stuff, but obviously he doesn't know that whales can come live in your pond and then migrate back. So he's sort of missing one of the most important things. I don't know, Emily, maybe someday he'll see a whale in his pond because you've given him the confidence to do that. Let's see what's on this side. Oh, cool. I love the back of a cover too. What is on the inside? Because the author never leaves you hanging. Whoever wrote the story usually often has surprises in the back. And look back here. Oh! The last thing we see is Arthur waving at us with his tail. Oh, guys, I'm so glad you came today. I'm so glad you came. And I want to thank my normal cameraman for doing what he needs to do, which is going outside to play with Daisy. I mean, really play. This way, Daisy can really run as far as she can see. And Dexter can be outside, too. So I hope, while we're all tucked away, I really, really hope that you and whoever you're living with, whoever you're snuggled in with, and some of you are in an apartment by yourself, and so just stay in touch with all of us out here. Call us. You don't even have to FaceTime us. Just give us a call, or maybe you might want to send a letter to someone. I get so few things in the mail that aren't just, advertisements. Cool, where to go eat, what to buy, that kind of thing, but wouldn't it be cool to get a letter? I think it inspires us a lot to get a letter.